We have gotten the details on the Comfey in terms of which ingredients that it is gonna farm. So, it's a triple corn Pokemon. That is incredibly surprising. And not oil, not honey, and not apples. So that is very, very surprising to me that they would do triple corn. I thought they were gonna put it in the B slot here just because you do have to make it all the way to Lapis Lakeside to hunt the Beware, which is the other corn ingredient specialist. Well, you do have a Dragonite too, but Beware has that triple corn potential. And at that point, I was thinking they would potentially put it in the B slot here so you don't have to make it all the way to Lapis to unlock the corn. But now you can just find it base Greengrass and then Cyan Beach and then at Lapis. So this is pretty interesting. It is going to be a little bit of a wait here until the right rates are put up on the Rain on X site. You can always find that linked in the video description if you want to know where all these details come from. That is all disclosed in the video description of my videos. And so there is a lot of discussion to be had here. I think these rates for the Ginger is among the highest I've seen. And the 7 cacao at the end here is huge. So I don't know if there are any corn cacao recipes. That is something I should potentially add to the cooking widget. So my cooking widget looks like this. I haven't really figured out how to make those videos yet. I just have to keep thinking a little bit about it. But yeah, I don't have a really good way to filter the recipes that, like, for example, use only cacao, or not only cacao, but yeah, I need to make some sort of adjustment here where I can filter, like, which recipes can you make with honey and corn, and then have some sort of filtering, but haven't figured that out yet. Need to make some more slides. And yeah, we pop back here into the corn. So overall, I would say it seems to me that Comfey is a nerfed version of Beware at the surface. The big thing here is going to be the skill rate because it is an energizing Pokemon. So for the most part, Beware has an incredibly low skill rate and a very, very weak main skill as a consequence. So Comfey is faster and it's got a different skill. So if the skill rate is above 4%, that would be huge on the Comfey. Like, just very, very, very good. Because at that point, this energizing cheer is actually going to do something if you do decide on putting some seeds into it. The big drawback here is the single stage evolution, but it seems like they like to make a few of these single stage skill specialist Pokemon. So maybe Comfey is a bit of a dual specialist. We'll have to see. I'm guessing the skill rate is probably going to be 1.5, 2%, max 2.5. And that's just going to be a decent boost here and there on the energizing cheer-ass. But God forbid this skill rate is above 4%. At that point, you can pretty much just consider the ingredient finder M, skill trigger M, and maybe like a helping speed or an ingredient finder, or even the skill up nature. And at that point, Comfey could be worthwhile to put some seeds into. I haven't really hunted for a Stuffle yet. I have tried, but haven't found a good one. If this Comfey turns out to be rather strong on the skill triggering, I may hold off on the Beware, personally, just because this additional energizing cheer could be huge if you think about the long-term energy dynamics, because the energizing cheer has some really, really high values at the higher ends of the main skill level. So for example, at main skill level 6, it heals 50 energy per proc. And with the recent addition of, or recent balance on the energizing cheer, where it's more likely gonna hit one of your least or the least energized Pokemon, then overall Comfey could be a very nice all-rounder, to the point where I'm almost wondering if the skill trigger rate is high on the Comfey, then I don't even know if it matters which ingredient list you get on the Comfey. You get a lot of ginger, if it's ginger. Cacao is a very good filler ingredient. And corn is a nice ingredient too. But like, let's say you get corn double ginger, but you have like a super skill heavy Comfey. At that point, I'm almost wondering if that could be some sort of strategy. But one thing to keep in mind either way, what happens with these rates here is that Comfey is going to be an expensive Pokemon to raise. It's a single stage Pokemon, and it requires quite a bit of biscuits to catch it. It's like 16 points. The Beware can evolve from Stuffle, which is 5 points. And upon the evolution, you also gain some inventory. So even though it's a bit slower, if the ingredient rate is somewhat similar, I do think the Beware is better just because of that extra inventory. But it just waits to be seen a little bit. I am surprised by the 7 Cacao here and the 6 and 9 Ginger. In comparison, we can have a look at the Blastoise for Cacao. That could be due to the high ingredient rate here. It's 5 Cacaos, approximately the same speed. It's at least in favor of the Blastoise, really, in the comparison here. So the 7 Cacao makes me think that the ingredient rate here is around 18-19%, maybe 16, maybe 15, depends on the skill rate. You just have to make an all-rounded Pokemon a little bit. And then in terms of the Ginger, we can compare to the Charizard. Charizard has a much lower ingredient rate at 22% and not 28 like the Blastoise. And you can see that the drops here are 4 and 7. That's pretty huge. So when the speed is basically the same, you get 2 extra ginger per proc. This is an ingredient magnet Pokemon with a very low skill rate. So you can see on the Comfey here that the ingredient drop rate is likely going to be something similar to the Gengar, I would assume. You can see the numbers here. It is 16%. It is quite a bit faster, but in terms of the value drops here, it kind of makes sense. It's crazy with the 6 and 9 Ginger here. So yeah, ingredient rate and skill rate is going to be super interesting on the Comfey, and we will revisit the Comfey topic again in the future as we know more about it. I'm for one super excited to see if that skill rate is north of 4%. That would be huge, because then at that point, if you do pop some main skill seeds and you do get the ingredient finder M, well, I can pop in the expansion here really so that we can get a really clear picture of what I'm talking about here. If we have a Comfey that has the ingredient finder M and the skill trigger M, and I don't really care about the rest here for the most part. We have like the, is it careful? I don't think so. Yeah, definitely not careful. Is it the mild nature? No, rash? Nope. I have forgotten. Let's see. Careful, sassy, gentle maybe. Yeah, if we have something like this, that would be huge on the Comfey. And then we can compare the values here as well. So the Greengrass Corn is 140. Warming Ginger is 109. And Soothing Cacao, 151. 650 in value, dropping at that level 30, and almost 1,000 at level 60. That's huge. So it's going to be super interesting to see what this Comfey is all about, and I can't wait to learn more about the ingredient rate and the skill rate. I would love to hear about your thoughts on the Comfey. Were you surprised? Were you happy? Were you disappointed? I, for one, was really hoping for that Apple Pokemon, but maybe they're holding off on the Appleton and the Surfetched for the leaks and the apples. I, for one, would be excited beyond belief if those are introduced in Pokemon Sleep. So, yeah, leave a like if you did, and thank you very much for watching. Check out the playlists on the channel homepage. I have every content imaginable sorted there, and so if you're new to the channel, that's maybe something to dive into if you found this interesting. So I'll see you around in another video.